Hey guys, welcome back. Today is a little bit of a continuation of the first backside flow that is already on the library. Today specifically though, with the backside, we're going to work a little bit more with the glutes. A lot of the moves in this class are inspired by one of my favorite movement mentors, Jenny Rawlings. And there's some glute movements that I just adore that are going to be in this practice because they get into the lateral glutes and the lateral hips as well. So we're not just targeting one part of the glutes, we're getting more of the side of the body. So let's get going. We're going to start on our back. I usually like to start on the back, very grounding for the nervous system. So what you're going to do is just go ahead and lie flat. And right away, feel free to straighten your left leg or you can bend the knee, whatever feels more comfortable on the low back. You're going to draw your right knee in towards the chest and the leg is going to be really heavy here. You're going to take your right hand either behind the knee or right on top of the knee. And what I want you to do is just apply a little bit of pressure by pressing the hand into the knee. So you'll feel your thigh bone kind of go more into your hip joint. And I feel like this really helps whenever I get a little bit of SI, discomfort or tension or however you want to describe it, it just kind of releases that tension a little bit. So you're just pressing your hand either onto the knee or behind the knee, keeping your right leg really passive, so really heavy. You're just going to start to draw tiny circles with your hip. So while you apply that pressure, you're kind of massaging your femur in your hip joint. So just finding that nice massage of the ball and socket here. And we're just warming up this area of the body. Starting to stay connected to nostril, natural breath. And then let's change the direction. And we'll circle the other way. Again, just applying a little bit of pressure so you can feel, I can definitely feel my thigh in my hip. It feels really nice on the low back. Great, and then let's gently release and we'll switch. Left knee comes in, leg is heavy, the arm is doing the work here. You're going to press the hand either behind the knee or right on top of the knee, and then let's start to circle. So circling that ball and socket. Just getting the hip nice and warmed up. And then we'll change the direction. Great. And then from here, we'll bend both knees, place the feet onto the floor, knees a little bit wider than your hips. You can take your arms wherever you like, and you're just going to start to windshield wipe the knees from one side to the other side. And just take this time to massage your glutes. Starting to bring some movement into the hips. One hip goes out, the opposite hip internally starts to rotate. Great. And then we'll come back to center here, keeping the feet about hips distance apart. Extend the arms long by the sides of your body. And you can use the support of your hands and your arms pushing into the floor. You're going to start to tuck your pelvis, squeeze and lift your hips. Squeeze your glutes, a little bit of hip extension here. And then from your upper mid-spine, start to slowly lower. 1 inch at a time. So getting a little bit of spinal mobility at the same time. And then you're going to re-tuck the pelvis, squeeze and lift the hips. So we're adding a bit of glutes here, some hip opening. Just kind of warming up things. We'll do a couple more cycles, and you're just going at your own pace, trying to lift 1 inch at a time, squeezing the glutes at the top. You can even pull your heels back towards your torso, your sit bones. Slowly lower. And then take your time to get there. The next time that you're up, you're going to hold. And then just walk your feet a little bit closer together. Now, do the best that you can to not move your pelvis too much. You're going to press down through the right foot and lift the left. Right away, I can feel my left glute start to activate. And this really helps with my stability in my SI joint. And then lower the left foot, press the floor, lift the right. This is really tricky. I can feel that my hips are wanting to not stay level, which is okay, but we want to do the best that we can to try and isolate one hip at a time. So you can take your hands on your hip points. And that was one of the first amazing tips that I learned from Jenny when she demonstrated taking her hands on the fronts of your hips and really pressing down through the opposite foot like you're marching on the spot. Let's do 2 more. One more. And then both feet down. From your upper mid-spine, start to slowly lower. One piece at a time. Let's float the legs up and we'll shake them out. Just allow the blood to circulate and flow. Great, we'll bring the soles of the feet together, knees fall wide. And then from here, do the opposite. Bring your knees together, bring your feet wide. So a little bit of internal rotation through the thighs. I like to push and squeeze my inner knees and thighs together. And then let's go back to Supta Baddha Konasana. And then knees together, feet wide. And this is another one I learned from Jenny. So there's a lot of inspiration in this class from her teaching. And the reason why I wanted to share it was because I instantly felt better in my low back after I kind of experimented with a lot of these shapes. Great. The next time, soles of the feet together, knees are wide. You can use your hands if you want. You're going to press down through the outer edges of your feet, squeeze, lift the hips. So now we're getting into a different angle of our bridge lift. Rather than always having the soles of the feet perfectly onto the floor, I can feel my outer glutes, and then you're going to slowly lower. Bring the knees together, feet wide, internally rotating through the hips, lift and squeeze. A different angle, again. Lower the hips, Feet together, knees wide. Squeeze and lift. And you're just going to alternate at your own pace. Each time lifting the hips. Really super squeezing inner thighs. Just exploring all the different angles. Especially if you're someone that sits all day, this should feel really good to start to fire up these muscles. Great. Let's do one more set. So one more of each. Awesome. This time we're going to grab onto both knees, either on top of the knees or behind the knees. Apply a little bit of pressure with the hands. So push your thigh bones into your hips. Small circle. Legs are really passive. So instead of doing the one leg at a time, now we're integrating both hips. Change the direction. Just imagining that ball and socket. Great. Hug the knees in, add a gentle sway, just adding a little bit of flexion to the low back. And then when you're ready, we'll come up to stand. So it is optional to have blocks. I don't have any blocks right now, but if you feel like you may be more comfortable with blocks, that's always an option. So we're going to come onto our mat, soles of the feet about hips distance apart. My favorite hip hinges. Very similar to deadlifting, targeting glutes and hamstrings. So take your hands onto your waist, your hips, soft bend through the knees, start to tilt the pelvis forward and hinge from the hip. So right away you should feel stretch and strength in the backs of your thighs. Press down through the heels, use your hamstrings, your glutes to pull you out to stand. And we'll do that a few more times. Hinging from the hips. Nice and long spine. Root down through the heels. Pull yourself up to stand. So whenever you come into your forward folding, we should be folding from the hip hinge rather than the low back. Getting a nice eccentric contraction in the backs of the legs. The next time you're in that hinge, you're just going to pause. Imagine you're trying to pull your thigh bones backwards. And then fold over the thighs. And just take a moment here, bend the knees. Relax your belly on top of your thighs. Add a little bit of a sway, a bounce. And then from here, we're going to step right foot back. And we're going to come onto the back knee. So right away, left hip back, right hip forward, pubic bone up, tailbone down. Really pushing that front foot into the floor. Bring your hands to heart center. And as you push that front foot into the floor, can you lift yourself up? Take a moment, squeeze your right glute at the top. Keep tucking the pelvis. Slowly lower back down. Again, push the floor away with that front foot. As you lift, squeeze the right glute. Lower yourself back down. With control. We're going to do that 2 more times. With control, slowly lowering. Great. Slowly lower. And then from here, plant your palms and we'll press to downward facing dog. So maybe pedaling out here through the legs, bending one knee at a time. This should feel like a really nice stretch in the backs of the legs, the calves, the hamstrings. And then from here, let's start to pull forward, high plank. Press the floor away, separate the shoulders, tuck your pelvis, squeeze your bum, and notice how that changes your plank. And then push back, downward facing dog. Great, let's pull forward, high plank. Press the floor away, separate the shoulders. Downward facing dog. One more. Let's pull forward, high plank. Your choice, knees up or down. Try to lower chest, belly, thighs. Re-extend the legs. We're going to get into a little bit of hip extension with glute and hamstring activation. So you can keep your forehead onto your hands. I'm going to keep my head lifted so you can hear me. Try to tuck your pelvis. So draw your pubic bone to your belly. Push your pubic bone into the floor. You're going to press down through the right foot and lift your left leg. So really squeezing hamstring, glute, lower, and switch. Pressing the left top of the foot into the floor, lifting the right, squeeze, slowly lower. And we'll just alternate from side to side. And you want to lift the leg from the hamstring glute rather than using your low back. And try to breathe in and out of your nose, into the belly. Great. Let's gently release. We're going to push to all fours, and we'll take cat into cow. So when you're ready, just pressing the floor away, tucking the chin, rounding the spine. And then use your inhale to pull forward. So just taking a moment to add some freedom to precision. Allowing the shoulders, spine, and pelvis to move. And then we'll find a neutral spine, downward facing dog. From here, lift your right leg, bend your right knee, open your hip. Now, instead of taking your right heel to your left bum, can you take your right heel to your right glute and super squeeze the back of your hamstring? Actively squeeze your right glute. Keep pushing the floor away, and then we'll lightly step, right foot forward, come onto the left knee. Bring your hands to heart center, right hip back, left hip forward, push your front foot into the floor as you lift. Straighten your legs, try to tuck your pelvis with control. Lower the left knee, pause, squeeze and lift. Lower, just going at your own pace. The idea of strength building here, especially in the glutes, is to go slow, controlled. Use that front foot to press. Great. The next time the left knee is down, we'll step forward and fold over the thighs. Relax your upper body. Soft bend through the knees. Start to push down through your heels. Tuck your pelvis and very slowly start to round. 1 inch at a time. Squeeze your glutes at the top. Bring your hands to your hips. Soft bend through the knees and hinge. So as you hinge, can you pull your thigh bones back? Press down through the heels. Use your glutes to pull you up. So just going back to the top here. Couple hip hinges, pelvis tilting forward. Long spine. Active legs. Great. Let's do one more. Hinge. Let's pause. Feel this stretch and work in the backs of your thighs. And then fold. Let's go ahead and step the left foot back again. We'll come onto the left knee. Little bit of a shorter lunge. Make sure your feet are at least hips distance apart, okay? Better for balance. Push your right foot into the floor and squeeze to lift. Squeeze your left glute at the top. Start to tuck your pelvis. Slowly lower with control. Squeeze and lift. Tuck, slowly lower. Push the floor away. Lift. Let's do 2 more cycles. Great. The next time the left knee is down, plant your palms, and you're going to step back to downward facing dog. Pedal out through the legs, bend one knee at a time. And then let's start to wave forward, high plank. Press the floor away, separate the shoulders, squeeze your glutes. Downward facing dog. Again, let's pull forward, high plank. Pull your sternum forward, squeeze your glutes. Downward facing dog. Pull forward, high plank. Knees up or down, lower onto the belly. Great, re-extend the legs. We're coming back into those hip extensions. So tucking the pelvis, squeezing your glutes, push your pubic bone into the floor. Press down through the top of the right foot, and we'll lift the left. Slowly lower. Lift, alternating. And you're just going at your own pace, trying to tuck your pelvis, squeezing your glutes, lifting from the hamstrings. And then gently release. Let's press to all fours. So bird dog, one of my favorite kind of old school backside moves. So I like to start with my knees and my thighs together. Hands are shoulders distance apart. You're going to press the floor away. You're going to extend your right leg behind you. Flex or point the toe. Reach the left arm out in front. Squeeze glute, shoulder, and then gently release. And then switch. So you're just going to alternate here at your own pace. Opposite arm, opposite leg. And you don't want to try to lift the leg so much that you start to really arch through the low back. It doesn't matter how high. You just want to feel that activation in the back of your glute, your hamstring. And that opposite hand is pressing into the floor. We'll go for like 20 more seconds. Just getting the whole backside, especially glute, hamstring. Great, let's release. Downward facing dog. Again, from here, let's lift the left leg, bend your left knee, curl your hamstring. So really draw that left heel to your left glute. Super squeeze the back of your thigh. And then we'll lightly step, left foot forward, come onto the right knee. Back into our shorter lunge. Bring your hands to heart center. Pushing the left foot into the floor, start to squeeze and lift. Squeeze your right glute, straighten the legs, tuck the pelvis, slowly go back down. Take a moment to pause. When you feel like you have control, push the floor away, lift. Your own pace, your own breath. Let's do one more. Bottom up. Right knee down, step forward and fold. Again, relax the upper body, soft bend through the knees. Press down through the heels, tuck your pelvis. Slowly begin to peel up. 1 inch at a time, coming all the way up to stand. So from here, we're going to come into some chair squats. And this is a great variation because we can also get into the lower traps, which is very much the back side. So feet about hip distance apart, hands long by the sides of your body. Thumbs are going to turn up. So as you sit back into your chair, reach the arms up as high as they can go. Tuck your chin. Squeeze your back. And then press down through the heels. Use your glutes to pull up. Again, sit back. Use your glutes to pull you up. We'll do a few more. Lifting the arms as high as they can. Looking for almost that V shape with the arms so that we can get a little bit of trap. The next time the arms are up, you're going to put the weight into the right foot, hover the left. Pause. Left foot down, hover right. With as little movement as possible. Right foot down, hover left. Alternating. If your hands get tired, bring them to heart center, but continue the movement with your legs. So we're adding some single leg work so that we're targeting the single glute. This one also feels really good in my SI joint. Try to take your hips back. And then we'll fold over the thighs. Lift and lengthen halfway. Slide the fingertips at the shins, knees, thighs, and then fold. 2 more just like that. Lift and lengthen. Imagine you're still in that deadlift. And then fold. 1 more. Lift and lengthen. Press down through the heels. Use your legs to pull you up to stand. Great. So from here, step your left foot forward, right foot back. Again, a little bit more of a shorter lunge. This one was a variation of a lunge pulse, again, from Jenny that I learned that I really like. So bring your hands to heart center, bend your back knee, hover or tap. You're going to lift 1 inch or 2, lower back down, and now lift all the way up. Okay, so bend, hover or tap the back knee, lift 1 inch, lower back down, lift all the way up. 2 more just like that. Down, up a little bit, lower, all the way up. 1 more. Down, up a couple inches, lower, all the way up. Great. We're going to switch feet. Right foot forward, left foot back. And you want to have your feet at least hip distance apart, so you're not on one line. And have access to your pelvis. So what I mean by that, make sure you can tuck your pelvis a little bit, drawing your pubic bone up. Okay, left leg. Lower, hover or tap, lift 1 inch or 2, lower back down, lift all the way up. Again, lower, up 1 inch or 2, lower, lift all the way up. Really pressing that front foot into the floor. Lower, lift, lower, lift. 1 more. And then gently release. Okay, we're going to go back to those chair squats. When you're ready, find your breath. Thumbs up, just so we get some external rotation in the mix through the shoulders. Sit back. Lift the arms up as high as you can. Tuck the chin. Squeeze your back. Use your legs to pull you up. Again. Nice and slow. Nice and controlled. The next time you're down, feel free to keep the arms up or hands to heart center. Weight into the right or left and see if you can hover the opposite foot. Pressing the floor away. Gently release. Switch. Without taking the weight too much, it's hard. So we just want to isolate by really driving down through one foot, activating the hip, glute, all the muscles surrounding. Just going at your own pace, holding on one foot for about 5 seconds, and then switching. Try to take your hips back. Both feet down, let's fold over the thighs. Lift and lengthen halfway. Slide the fingertips up the shins, knees, thighs, and then fold. 2 more just like that. Lift, lengthen. Imagine you're driving your thigh bones behind you. Fold. 1 more. Press down through the heels. Use your legs to pull up to stand. Great. So one thing that I think is important when it comes to glute and hip strength is getting into the lateral hips and the lateral glutes. So instead of always going forward and back, we want to make sure we go side to side. So what you're going to do is root down through the left foot, take your hands onto your hips, hover your right foot, and see if you can just take it to a very tiny leg lift out to the side. And then come back to center, release, switch. Left leg out to the side, release, switch. Squeezing the outer glute, the outer hip. Really pressing down through your standing heel with control. So imagine you had a resistance band wrapped around your thighs so you can create that resistance with your own body. Great. Now we're going to go to a little bit of dynamic warrior 3. Hands to heart center. Soft bend through the right knee. You're going to start to drag that left heel back, hinge from your hip, and fold about halfway. Tiny bend through the knee. Dig down through the right heel. Drive yourself up to stand, and we'll switch. Slide the right heel back, hinge at the hip. And you're just going at your own pace. Pressing down through that heel to pull you up to stand. We'll go about 20 more seconds. Take your time. Great. Now we're going to combine those last two movements. So taking the lateral leg out to the side and then behind. So we're getting both angles of side and behind. So I'll show you. Rooting down through the right. Left leg goes out to the side. Doesn't have to be that much, so we don't want to go like too far out to the side where we're completely going over to the right. Leg out to the side. Hover or tap back to center. Soft bend through the right knee. Hinge and go back. Use your right glute to pull you back up. Left foot down. Root down through the left. Right leg goes out to the side. Center, hover or tap. Hinge at the hip. So we're just adding that lateral leg lift in between our dynamic warrior 3. Hover, out to the side, center, about 20 more seconds, your own pace. And then gently release. Great. Let's come to the mat Relax your body. Softly tuck the chin towards the chest. Round your neck first. Round your upper back. And just let gravity pull you down here. 1 inch at a time. Keep your knees bent and feel your belly resting on top of your thighs. Grab onto opposite elbows. Add a little bit of a bounce, a little bit of a sway. Just let your whole back body round out here a little bit. And then from here, we'll plant the palms and we'll press back to downward facing dog. From here, let's start to pull forward, high plank. Knees up or down, lower onto the belly. So let's come into some back work, even the upper back. So forehead is going to stay down. Stand the arms long by the sides of your body, palms face up. Press down through the tops of your feet. Tuck your pelvis, squeeze your glutes. Arms are going to lift first, as high as they can. And then start to lift forehead, chest, spine, legs. Squeeze back, glutes. And then lower everything with control. When you feel ready, you're going to repeat that. Lift the arms as high as they can. Squeeze the arms into the midline. Forehead, chest, spine, legs. Squeeze. Breathe into the belly. Slowly lower. Let's do one more. Arms, forehead, chest, legs, squeeze, and then gently release. Let's stack the palms. Relax the chin or the forehead onto the hands. And just come into your breathing. So breathing in and out of your nose. See if you can breathe into the belly, the sides of your waist, as well as your low back. So sometimes I like to take my hands onto the small of my low back, just to make sure I'm breathing into the lower part of my pelvis. And then when you're ready, we'll push to child's pose and we'll explore that same breath. Stacking the palms, releasing the forehead. Flexing through the lumbar spine and see if we can expand that whole lower part of the back and the sides of the waist and the low belly without overly increasing the volume of air. So staying with a nice natural breath. And then we'll start to press ourselves up. And from here, taking your right or your left leg forward, right or left leg back behind you, coming into one of my favorite active mobility stretches, the 90-90. So essentially, It's ideal to have the front leg at 90 degrees as well as the back leg. Now, if for some reason it's uncomfortable, come to a seat that looks relatively similar to this. If you can, flex all 10 toes towards your shin. And I want you to actively push the whole outer front foot into the floor. And then take your fingertips by the sides and you're going to hinge from your hips and start to fold. At the same time, you're resisting by pushing that front thigh into the floor. So maintaining resistance and strength. And then use that strength to push the floor away as you come back to a seat. And you can stay light on the hands, or you can even lift the hands up and just use the strength of your outer front hip to pull you up back to a seat. So we're getting that range of motion, but adding strength as well. Adding some strength into what range we have available. Great. The next time you're down, you're just going to pause here. Feel free to come onto the forearms, and I want you to push your front thigh bone into the floor. Really push. So even though we're kind of passive through the upper body, we want to be relatively active through the hip. And then let's push the floor away. Come back to a seat. And let's change legs. One side always feels different. This side for me always feels different. So 90-90 front and back, flexing toes to shin. Take your fingertips out in front. Just feel it out first. Pushing your whole front shin, knee, thigh into the floor. If it feels good, you can hover the hands. Only if it feels good. Only if you can control the movement. Keep resisting by pushing the floor away. And then the next time you're down, you're just going to pause and push that whole outer shin, knee, foot, thigh into the floor. You don't have to go to like 100% of your maximum effort. Maybe go like 60, 70, just so that you feel something. And then we'll push the front thigh into the floor. Use that to pull yourself back to a seat. Excellent. Let's come on to our back here. A little bit more active stretching to release the glutes. So just taking your left flexed ankle, place it above the right knee. Without using the hands, arms by the sides of your body, you're going to squeeze the right knee in towards the chest, and at the same time that left ankle is pushing into your thigh and vice versa. So I still feel some active release in my left hip. And then with control, slowly lower right foot back down. And then with resistance, left ankle into the thigh, push. And then slowly lower. Great, let's do one more. Right knee squeezes in. Keep pressing the ankle into the thigh, vice versa, and just add a little bit of a sway from side to side. Just massaging the hip. And then gently release. Keep the left ankle on top of the right knee thigh. Let your hips and everything fall to the right. Maybe the left foot hovers or taps the floor. And then draw the legs back to center. Let the knees and thighs fall to the left. And you're just kind of windshield wiping in a little bit of a reclined pigeon shape. Great. And then come back to center, left foot down. Pick up your right flexed ankle, place it above the knee, thigh. No hands. See if you can squeeze the left knee in towards the body. Keep pressing the ankle into the thigh. And then with control, slowly lower back down. And then push the ankle into the thigh, vice versa. Squeeze and lift. Slowly lower back down. One more. Squeeze, lift, pause, press the ankle into the thigh, add a bit of a gentle sway, side to side. Massaging the hip while actively resisting. And then let's gently release. Keep the ankle where it is. Lower everything to the left. Maybe the right foot hovers or taps. Come back to center. Lower to the right. And we're just kind of revolving from side to side. Again, just getting another angle here through the hip. And then come back to center, hug the knees into the chest. Stay here or take happy baby. You can come into a really passive happy baby just by grabbing onto the backs of your knees and then swaying. Or maybe calves, ankles, or maybe the outer edges of your feet. And if you rather not get passive quite yet, feel free to add some resistance by pressing down into the feet and pushing the legs up into the hands at the same time. So you should feel a nice resisted stretch in your hips, your low back, a little bit of flexion. See if you can breathe into the belly. Starting to really unravel and unwind through the nervous system. And of course, if there's any other shapes that your body needs from this practice, take as much time as you like. Otherwise, we're going to set up for final relaxation. And I invite you to stay here for as long as you need. And I highly recommend at least 5 to 10 minutes of relaxation, tuning into a sense of your body as whole here, sensation, breath, presence. And it is always such an honor to guide each of you. Have a wonderful day, and I'll see you soon.